Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Challenge. About 25 minutes later than I normally like to come on, but I slept later than normal, went to sleep later than normal. I was watching college softball, Kentucky hosting Texas A&M, and they were whipping up on Texas A&M, and then they started getting people on base, and this girl got her first ever college hit, and it was a grand slam. I said, wow. So then it was 6-9. They had to change the pitcher, and then I said, let me turn it off, go to sleep. But I didn't sleep that well, kept waking up for some reason, and I woke up late. But anyway, you say that's really not my concern. I understand that. I don't watch web vlogs either. I never watch those things where people say, like, hey guys, this is what's going on with me right now. And I'm not against it. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I don't flip through the phone book and find people that I don't know and watch what they're doing, go check out what they're doing. That's just me. But, hey, but anyway, Kentucky Beau, introduced in 1950. This is the green label. I have seen photos of the black label. There might be a white label. This is about as base model as they get. 80-20 blend ratio, so it's 80% grain spirits, unaged corn liquor, basically moonshine, what you want to call that. 20% straight whiskey. This is made in Kentucky by Heaven Hill. All right, aged 3 years. There's an age statement on the bottle. I got it for $6.49 plus tax at Bonita Liquor in Meridian, Mississippi. It's a small store, but they have a lot in that store. It's actually pretty interesting. A lot of stuff we cannot get here in Louisiana. Well, Mississippi has a whole different beer lineup. Bush Ice, we can't get it. Still Reserve 211 Black Label, we don't get that. No. Now, here's something we don't get for sure. I bought this at Specs in Texas. Specs. They have so many Specs liquor stores, kind of like Total Wine people talk about all the time, a chain, or ABC Wine and Fine Wine and Liquor, a chain. We don't get any of those in Louisiana, nothing. The only chain liquor stores we have is Albertsons. And depending on what town you're in, it's not a liquor store, it's just part of the grocery store. If you go to Hammond, the liquor's in the store on the shelves like cereal or olives. And if you go to Baton Rouge, it's a separate liquor store. But we don't have any other chains that I'm aware of. But King Square blended whiskey. King Square, wow, so not famous. Strange label, white on light gray, like pewter, gypsum gray. Kind of didn't really stand out too much, does it? Blended whiskey with a crown and a background of like some city square in England, London. You say, well, what does that have to do with Florida? How is that related to Caribbean distillers in Florida? Hey, but I don't know. I think they just think of stuff with some of these liquor brands. They just say, I found some good internet pictures of London. Oh, let's use that. Let's call it King Square. The only relationship I can make is that Great Britain did own, the Kingdom of Great Britain did own Florida, West and East Florida, from 1763 to 1783 for 20 years. So, okay, Great Britain owned Florida. This is made in Florida. And yeah, that was the tangential relationship. Hey, Jay, good morning, Ron. Hey, Maxwell, sorry I'm late, but I couldn't help it. Could have helped it, but I could have gone on. I said, let me start on time, but then I haven't eaten anything. I said, I can't drink. I mean to say taste. I wouldn't drink whiskey this early in the morning. I'm not crazy, but I can't taste whiskey on an empty stomach. So I had the Quaker grits with a big, not too big, but a block of hogshead cheese, Manda hot hogshead cheese, which is not hot, but it's just less, it's not as bland as the regular. And I put some spices in there, salt, of course, black pepper, some Valentina Mexican hot sauce. And then, you know, this, they call it, James P. Madonna said they call it scrapple up there, up like in Pennsylvania. He said, that's what that is. It's the same thing. I said, okay. But that's a word that has no meaning in Louisiana. If you told somebody scrapple, that would fall, you would get a blank stare because no one understands that word. It has no, you know what I'm saying? It has no meaning in this state. No one's ever heard that word. I've only heard it from the internet. I've actually never heard anybody say it. But you put the grits on top and then it kind of melts in with the grits, kind of like the corned beef hash, and be good, you know? So anyway, and then I got this coffee, Walmart medium blend. It's kind of bland, you know, but it doesn't taste bad. And it's the cheap price. I mean, you get a huge 48-ounce canister. It used to be $8.48 for like 5 straight years. Now it's dropped to like $7.84 or something like that. It's probably made by Folgers for Walmart. I would assume that. I don't know. But right there east of me, 30 miles east of me is, well, maybe it's 34 miles. I don't know. Yeah. Folgers, biggest coffee plant in the world, they said at the time it was built. Then further east on the old Highway 90 is the other Folgers coffee plant. Huge. You can smell the coffee when you drive down Highway 90 in New Orleans, eastern New Orleans. You can smell the coffee. Sometimes if you're sitting at the UNO baseball game, the wind will blow and you smell fresh roasted coffee at the game. On the western one, you know, the one next to the Industrial Canal, they make the regular Folgers coffee. Now the eastern one, they say they make the gourmet coffees, like real expensive blends and all that they probably sell under an alias name. Like you would not know it was Folgers, but you'd say, I don't drink that garbage. I drink real coffee like this stuff. Butterfly Dreams coffee. That's the real stuff. It's $18 a pound. Well, if you're happy drinking it and you think it's a craft coffee and you don't know it's from Folgers, no one's hurt. You don't need to go sue when you find out, go to court. Like the guy who claimed he was damaged because, oh, hey, Dr. Frosty Brew, cheers to you. Still no dawn. I got to go walking too. The man that claimed he needed to be, receive damages from the court because he bought Blue Moon and then supposedly discovered that it was made by Coors Brewing Company and he thought it was a craft beer. And he said, it says right there on the can or the package, craft beer. And we know that they are not legally a craft beer company because, and then the judge was like, case dismissed because A, craft beer is not a legal term. And secondly, B, the designation for what craft beer is a trade association designation by the Beer Association. That's an arbitrary. They keep changing the parameters. They could decide tomorrow that Coors is a craft beer company if they wanted to. They just arbitrarily change. You can only be this big. Oh, Yuengling wants to join. I mean, Samuel Adams, Boston Beer Company wants to join. Oh, well, you could be this big and be a craft beer company. Oh, you can't use adjuncts. No corn, no rice. That's not craft beer. Well, that was always my understanding. It's the old time way of making beer without corn or rice, you know, the purified way. Not necessarily a better way, you know what I'm saying, the more old time way. But Yuengling wanted to join. Oh, well, you know, there is a history of using corn and rice in beer going back over 150 years. Oh, yeah, you could do that and be craft beer. So means a lot, right? Some people would say, You're a shill. You're a shill. You're working for them. You're working for the big companies. Yeah, I wish I was working for the big companies, making a lot of money to do beer reviews instead of not making a lot of money doing beer reviews. Like, so if the big companies come to me and say, hey, you know, like Slugworth, you know, hey, tell you what, make a bunch of videos about beer and make it seem authentic, like you're telling the truth, but really you're working for us. Got it, guy? You're going to get $100,000 a year just to do that. I'm game. But then, on the other hand, I know that, you know that, and the American people know that. It ain't going to ever happen, so forget it. Okay, Voltron says, hi, Ron. Hey, Voltron. So now, back to this. I don't know why I need labels. I don't. Because look, amber, chestnut color. Wow, it gets that dark after 3 years in a used barrel. Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't think they add color into it. I know what you're going to say. They can't add color into whiskey. Yes, they can. Not straight whiskey. Blended? Yes. Straight? No. This ain't straight. Look how light that is. It's raining now anyway. Hey, I'm not going to walk in the rain. I'm not like a manic depressive who walks in the rain. I'm not, you know, like they say in that song. Ha 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 ha. Look how gold. It's almost yellow. It's almost straw. You know, that's the color, straw. That's what it looks like after 4 years, because there's no age statement, so it has to be at least 4 years old. You take, it's a strange blend ratio, 72.5% grain whiskey, grain alcohol. In Scotland, they call it grain whiskey. In America, they call it grain neutral spirit. Same thing, basically. Column still unaged, flavorless, odorless, colorless, bulk product. And 27.5%, strange, huh? 27.5% straight whiskey. Man, it's so odd. I don't know why they chose this blend ratio. I did find out that Caribbean Distillers in Auburndale, Florida, apparently used to be part of Charles Jacquin SC. Charles Jacquin and Company, distillers from Philadelphia, grain neutral spirits. But then again, maybe they still are. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Jacquin's owns it and they just use a front name. You know what I'm saying? A alias name. Wouldn't shock me, because they do distilling in Auburndale, but mostly rum. But anyway, a lot of people use fronts. Like this past weekend, they had a women's march about women should make the same pay as men. And it was the People's Assembly of New Orleans, the People's Assembly. And I was thinking, I know that's got to be a front. And I'd love to look at their website. I didn't have time. I haven't had time for 3 days. And see what, I'm sure I know what they're advocating, you know? But it's probably it sounds like it's probably an arm of the Socialist Workers Party. They're like the real hardcore communists, you know. They're all over, you know, but they do all these fronts, you know. People's Assembly. And they'll do all these things, you know, like so-called human rights activism and stuff. And the news never checks, or they do know and they don't want to talk about it. But then you start looking it up and they're like, we demand to, you know, they'll be like real militant on the website. We are here to crush capitalism. We are the vanguard of the revolution. All true Bolsheviks unite around the world. And I'm like, oh yeah, like just a regular old group. Just were regular old normal people, you know. Right. That smells like Kentucky Beau to me. Oh yeah, and Socialist Workers Parties, they're Maoist. They're like, you know, like if they had their way, this would be year zero, and it would be like Kampuchea in 1975, you know, Pol Pot. Be the killing fields. I know you're gonna say, oh, but who are they killing? Capitalists. It's different. They asked for it. I've heard that before somewhere. Okay. This is the strangest smelling thing. Is it a good smell? Wouldn't go that far. It's strange. It smells like candy corn. Some kind of weird whiskey candy. There is wood in it, like oak, uncharred oak. Oh, it's just weird. It's not like normal. Like if you bought even a cheap straight bourbon like Evan Williams or what's another one? Ancient Age or Early Times, which is not called bourbon because they have it in used barrels, Asian used barrels. But anything like that, and you smell that, you'd be like, oh, okay, whiskey, I get it. Then you smell this, you'd be like, whoa, whoa, you know what? Hey, 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 hey. I tell you what, I just ate those grits, Quaker grits, and this kind of smells like that. You could almost take some corned beef hash and put it in here, and then, haha, I'm just kidding, but really, but seriously, folks, this one here smells more standard, like standard American blended whiskey, and I wouldn't want you to interpret that as me saying it smells good because usually American blended whiskey and the word good don't really go together so well, unless you're drinking Seven Crown, I guess. I already know what they are, but I'll taste them blind, you know, just for the heck of it. I'm gonna read the comments, I promise. I promise I'll never lie to you. I'll never tell a lie. I'll never tell a lie. Ha 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 ha. Candy. Let's drink some candy. We're going to get drunk on candy. Ripped on Coke and candy. Uh-oh. Out of key. Ripped on Coke and candy. That's the right key. I'm feeling dandy. Well, I guess if you had a notion to drink whiskey, which is 80%, or in one case, 72.5% grain spirits that tasted like some kind of corn syrup based candy, almost like Cairo, but Cairo adds the vanilla flavor. But this is not that different from that. Yeah, this could work. And I know you'd be saying, bro, no one wants to do that. That's why they mix it with Hawaiian punch or Delaware punch or Sprite. You're right. No one drinks these things straight except for me. Okay. The great leap forward off a cliff, says Joe Biden's attention. Voltron says, the new tactic I've noticed with socialists is to avoid the word communist like the plague. Oh, yeah, that's an old tactic. That's not a new tactic. And then argue with you that they are not communists if you use the word. Oh, yeah, right. I'm not communist. I say, well, you support all the planks, all the provisions of Bolshevism. Yeah, but technically I don't use the term. So I'm not. And then later on, I'll say, you got me in this gulag archipelago. I've been detained for reasons unknown for the last 25 years, eating porridge and doing wood, having to cut trees. And you say, that ain't a gulag. It's a detention facility. Well, what did I do wrong? You know what you did. Shut your mouth, running dog lackey. I'm like, okay, well, whatever you call it, a red star by any other name is still a red star. No. The great leap forward off a cliff. Socialism always leads to starvation and genocide. Yeah, now you could have socialistic policies like in the Norwegian countries. The Norwegian, heard what I said? Hey, I ain't drunk. I'm just drinking. I know what the people are thinking, but I ain't drunk. I'm just drinking. I mean to say the Scandinavian countries. But I wouldn't recommend it there either, but that's their business. I have people tell me, well, you know, in Sweden, they do this and that. I say, well, I don't care what they do in Sweden. I got ABBA's greatest hits. You know, I like listening to Dancing Queen, but I don't care if they have free. That's always funny when they say that. They got free everything. I say free. And their taxes are only 75%. Sounds free to me. Oh, well, sorry guys, but I'm having a corn overload. I ate grits. Now I'm drinking this stuff. I don't work for ConAgra, man. I don't work for Archer Daniels Midland. I don't work for Cargill, dude. I don't need all this corn because you are a judgmental. Okay. How do you tell with so many blends? It's well, they have distinct flavors, believe it or not. I have a pretty good palate, but still can't tell. I can tell a small, vastly overrepresented in terms of demographics cabal of individuals are behind the push towards Marxism, says JBD. Oh, a cabal. What do I know for cabals? What do I know for conspiracies? And even if I did, it wouldn't even matter because of the other thing. All right. So anyway, we're just one big happy family. We are the world. We are the children. Okay. How do you think it feels when you've been up for 5 straight days? Listen, babe. You say, oh, you're just very obliquely aggressive with these political topics. I've figured out your game plan, Mr. Whiskey person. You use this oblique humor, but you're trying to send some kind of underhanded message. Hey, don't blame me. Blame my free enterprise ideology. You know, don't blame me for that. I'm just over here doing whiskey. You feel me? And I'm going to do a beer review later on. Well, would I recommend either one of these? I'll get back to you on that one day when I think of a way that you could use them, where I could recommend them. So it's like the game password. We'll pass on that. Now, if you like to try different things and you see quaint little bottles and you're like, oh, look at the green bottle. Oh, look at the strange King Square bottle. Let me buy it. It's only $5.99 a bottle. Anyway, that's what it was, $5.99 a bottle. Yeah, I mean, I'd recommend it for that. You know, like you know what I'm saying? Like, you just reviewing it for the fun of it. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of people, they know what I'm doing. Some people don't. They don't get it. But a lot of people, they see me reviewing Kentucky Beau and they're like, he knows, we know. But other people they just kind of like, it goes like whoop over their head. And they're like, hey, let me tell you something. I just want to let you know that is not a credible product. I drank Evan Williams Barrel Proof, and let me tell you this and that, sir. You're undermining the whole drinking community on the internet, sir. Okay. Glad you read between the lines on the videos there. You might have had a hitch in your giddy up. You might have had a hitch in your giddy up, guy, fella. Now which one would I prefer? That'd be like asking a person what kind of torture would they. No, I'm just kidding. Well, as a comic, in all seriousness, like Bobby Bittman. No, neither. Honestly, I guess it's a washout. Does the 72.5 to 27.5 ratio make a big difference? Doesn't seem to. It makes it more candy corn. It's aged 4 years. I don't think they color it. How could they color it? Look how yellow it is. I mean, so no winner, no winner, no winner. It's a washout. But I do know which is which. This is Kentucky Beau, and I'm unanimous in that. This is Kentucky Beau. I knew it. Look at that amber. Oh, I can tell them apart. They don't all taste the same. Now, here's the rub. Here's the key. Here's the moral of the story. All right. The moral of the story is, even though these things are really cheap, I think we know that. And even though these things are like not exactly credible, and even though 99.9% of people buying this stuff mix it in a sippy cup as they shop at the department store. I don't know, whatever people do. You know, I know what people. All right, anyway. You can still, you can still differentiate one from another. They do not all taste the same. Now, it might be an exploration in badness in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're tasting this one and going, oh, what's the, and then you're tasting that one and saying, oh, no, 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 help me. You know, like you got a sore on your stomach that says, help me. It spreads out and says, help me. And you levitate, you know, and all of that. Mother, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? You could still tell them apart. Captain Howdy, that wasn't very nice. You know what I'm saying? So that's the moral of the story. Oh, gave me the willies. So that's the moral of the story. You can tell them apart. And generally, I mean, you'll get them wrong sometimes. I do. But it's close. I mean, the margins are, you know what I'm saying? The standard deviation with American blended whiskeys like this, you know what I'm saying? It's one does not deviate much from the other. There aren't many wild swings. All right. So they're reliable in that sense. They're reliable in the sense that they all kind of taste the same, The price point's low, but you can differentiate. Now, if you want to step up in the world and get a blended whiskey from America that's credible, get Seagram 7 Crown, but it ain't going to be $6.99 a bottle. It's going to be about $14 a bottle. And rightfully so, because it tastes way better. Makes sense, right? Okay. Voltron says Sweden has the military backing of the United States and Europe. All they are responsible for is creating blinds. Swedish blinds. It's like a young adult with no spouse or child living at home still with his parents and no bills. Right. Now, remember, I do not advocate that. I don't advocate alliances. I don't advocate the United States protecting any other country. Sweden should be on their own, free and clear. Right? So you will never, ever hear me on the internet saying the United States should be in foreign alliances and protecting any other country. That will never happen. Well said, Voltron. I agree with that. That's a good statement. Ron, have you seen the new Budweiser Nitro? Yes, I've seen it for $14.99 a 12-pack, and I didn't buy it. I said, I'm not paying that, you know. If I could get a single, I'll do it. But now I will get tired of waiting after a while, and I'll just buy the doggone thing, you know. Linda Blair grew up to be kind of hot, says JBD. Kind of like these whiskeys are kind of enjoyable, but not really enjoyable. I felt bad for her in a way because she got so typecast, you know. you get a lot of people that just get typecast and they can't get good roles, you know, like Adam West, perfect example. Oh, well. Is Knob Creek straight or blended? That stuff tastes like candy. It's straight whiskey. Some bourbon tastes like candy. A lot of bourbon tastes like candy. Tastes like candy corn now. Just remember the key word with bourbon or American blended whiskey. The key word is corn, or if you're in Europe, maize. If maize is something that turns you off, run from it, because it's going to, I'm sorry, but that's what I taste. When I taste this stuff and I taste straight bourbon, I may as well go to the grocery store and get corn on the cob and eat it. I may as well get some grits and eat it. I may as well get some canned corn and eat it. But we talking about without the salt. Now remember, all that stuff has salt. You gotta factor that out in your mind. Your mind is clear, but your soul is mad. You hate all this. You hate it. But the man's he reads poetry out loud, all right, and a voice. He likes you because you're still alive. He's got plans for you. When he dies, it dies, he dies. What are they going to say about him, man? Are they going to say he was a kind man? He was a wise man. He had plans. He had wisdom. No. Actually, I didn't love these, but I didn't hate them. But I sure didn't love it. And also, more truth. If I never had either one of these again, I wouldn't miss it. I really would not miss it. Oh, wow. What's coming up in 2 days? Well, I might do a rum taste challenge later today. Truth. Appleton Estate Signature Blend versus Skull. That should be interesting because Skull performs way better than you think. Like you say, Skull. Oh no, the horror, like Joe Biden's interest saying. No, but I say no, Skull is all right. The gold. Now, Ron Pontalba on Thursday, if I get, yeah, well, that one's questionable to say the least. Kyle says, have you tried brown sugar bourbon? Very sweet. I know, but I've seen it. I wouldn't want to try it. That doesn't appeal to me. It was like heaven had come down to earth in the form of gardenias. Anyway, the next blended taste challenge Thursday is going to be another oddball thing, Grand Legacy. Yeah, because you know how sometimes when you're walking home from the library, you say to yourself, I really think about how important CVS Pharmacy store brand liquor is. It's such a legacy item. Yeah. Most viewers are saying there is such a thing as CVS Pharmacy branded liquor. Unfortunately, there is. And I have some of it. Oh, no. You know how you feel? Well, after you drink that, you're going to feel worse than that. All right. Anyway, I'm just being dramatic. It's not that terrible, but it's different. Okay. Thanks for watching this video production. Onward and upward, like to say at Southern Mississippi, to the top.